Welcome back, YouTube. This is Acid Roots Wired. So this is part 9 of the Rise to Honor playthrough. So in this particular episode, we're still getting mauled somewhat here by these baseball bat carriers as far as those pitches going to happen. Just kind of within the tone of like the standard tedium of this particular game. I mean, it's some fun tedium, but it's just kind of within the aspect that just understand the concept of these are just enemies here that are kind of giving the gripes about this right now. It's just kind of within the pitch that it just makes me question this next boss fight that's coming, what's going to happen there. But yeah, I mean, this is fun enough within the pitch behind it. I mean, it's just kind of the concept. This takes it back to simplistic video games back in like the 2000s and 90s. It's the fair that you got a game over and you kept playing until literally you finally were just fuming enough to say fuck it or something like that. It's just kind of within the tone. But I actually don't feel those aspects as much. I mean, this game does tick me off a bit. It doesn't full blown piss me off, but it ticks me off enough to be able to say it's just kind of a little bit great. I think I've said this before. It was just kind of within the pitch behind it. So there's just some good type tones here. We're in terms of like the goings on. We're past the holiday season now. Originally, I was going to post this episode up earlier and before the holidays kind of particularly happened, and by that I mean just a few days before Christmas. But I kind of thought that I had to record more gameplay. I didn't realize I had more left over from the previous month. So I just kind of felt like I'll just get this belted out, and then I have another one on the way as far as those forecasts kind of happen. So it's just more standard fare is coming up with what's going to happen. There's going to be some more Guitar Heroes down the road and some more Devil May Cry's pitches like that and some of those type of ones. This is kind of within the pitch. But the thing about this particular game is the next episode here is I have to figure out the gun controls, which basically Jet Li's gun controls are different from like his standard martial arts controls as far as this pitch is going to happen with it. It's kind of within the tone that like I was trying to shoot the gun in like this particular episode to maybe get a little bit further, to maybe get to like a third save point so we could have like a little bit of like episode 11 here, but I just wasn't able to really get that mustered as far as those pitches going to happen. So I just look after it. That'll be for the next few episodes, which I'll probably get episodes 11 and 12 squared away within that same session. It's just kind of within the tone. Maybe it'll just be one session. Just depends on how much difficulty it really has within it, but that's kind of the concept, just as spoilers to episode 11, just saying that you'll see it by the end of this episode that there's going to be some gun toting, but it's just within the pitch behind it. So, good type fare, just good balanced game here, just good excellent type fare within it, just has surprises afoot just within those pitches about it, but just look after it. It is a pretty colossal game to kind of get within that context behind it, so. But yeah, I mean, the idealness, you really do want to maul these motherfuckers. Just being able to say that, just hitting these folks in the back. Because the thing about this, like I was saying in the previous episode, they approach you from, like, angles. They don't just come at Jet Li's face as far as head on, as far as those pitches going to happen. They will wait till you attack one of them, and then they'll go in, like, his blind spot as far as those pitches going to happen. So it's just kind of within the aspect that you pretty much, it wants you to use the counterattack, and that's just kind of the pitch, which I didn't realize. You would think that just these standard enemies, you would just be able to beat the tar out of them, and that would take care of it. But this is within the tone that most of these folks have baseball bats, and they will hit Jet Li a few times if you don't use the counterattack, which takes off quite a bit of his health. This is within the pitch. You counter, you get the bat from them, then you maul them. But you do have to wind up fighting like 15 or 20 of these enemies here. It's just within the pitch. There's a lot of them. It's just kind of within the fare behind it. So basic best concept is just to use the counterattack. It takes care of most of these folks, but just understand that I think it's the blue bar that if you counter too much, you have to actually attack a little bit to build back up the meter as far as this pitch can happen. But I just look after it. It's kind of within the fare behind it, but it just is more over just patience testing more so than anything else, just because this is kind of a segment here that you want to just beat the stuffing out of them, but it is kind of the pitch that because there's 3 of them at all times for the most part, by the time you knock out one, another one kind of shows up, so it's just within the flare. Maybe not, I mean, but there's enough of these to be able to say that that's within the aspect, but that's the tone behind it. So yeah, this is pretty similar to the Bouncer. I mean, that particular game that I showed off at the beginning of Acid Roots Wired as far as those pitches can happen, I am eventually going to play that game. I don't know if I said that before, but that's a game that's going to be scheduled. Originally, I just thought I'd show the ending of that game, but I kind of feel like I am actually going to play through that game as far as that would kind of go. It's not going to happen like anytime soon, like not March, April, something like that, but eventually there's games I have planned that, whenever I beat Rise to Honor. There's going to be a game that's going to replace that one. And I don't know if I'll continue to do 4 games at once like I've been doing. I think after I beat Guitar Hero, I'll just narrow it down to it just being like Rise to Honor, Van Helsing, and Devil May Cry, along with the surprise game that I mentioned in like the recent update vlog that I did. But I just would have to say that game's coming in the spring, and then I just would have to say from there that there's just going to be a rotation of like these continued games. But I'm going to try to get more than one of these per month with some of these type ones. At least that's what I was aiming to do. That's what I did with Rise to Honor in November, and that's what I did with Guitar Hero in December. Is just you'll see that aspect. That particular Guitar Hero is coming soon enough. It's just within the pitch that I try to get at least 2 episodes of these a month to be able to get towards it. Because, yeah, PlayStation 2 games are a little bit lengthier compared to, like, PS1 stuff, some of that type fare. It's just kind of the concept that I realized that if some of these episodes are going to stretch into, like, 30 and 35 and maybe even 40 episode parts, and I'm only doing these 10 or 12 minutes at a time, it's just kind of within the tone that the thing about it is just within the pitch that, I don't know if I'm going to talk during this.
Why are you looking for Michelle?
Her father's been assassinated.
What was I trying to say here? Yeah, I mean, this is just basically like a miniature Jet Li type movie, just in a video game to a sense. Real excellent type concept for that sort of thing. Should have been way more of these. I think I'm very surprised that there wasn't a sequel to this particular game in any fashion, or even like a spin-off, like, you know, just the way that they did multiple Jackie Chan games. I'm just surprised that they never did like another Jet Li game, because he definitely would have fit. I think that easily would have made like a quality PS3 game, some of those type fairs. There needed to be another one of these. I'm losing track of the point that I had when I was talking about that a few minutes ago, just within the concept of, I think I was just talking about the rotation of like these standard games, and just saying that it's going to be, yeah, there's 3 of them just within that. Yeah, I was saying that if it's going to be like 35, 40 parts, it's just kind of within the pitch as far as saying like, that you know, we're gonna have to get more than one of these a month, because that basically means that's gonna be 30 months from now, which is pretty much 2.5 years. I don't want, you know, Rise to Honor stretching into 2028. We gotta get this relatively roped up. That's within the pitch behind it. So this is like I was saying, the gun controls here is gonna be kind of some pseudo kind of Yakuza type settings within those pitch. I think that was a video game, Yakuza, is within the pitch behind it, but yeah, I just would have to say, I was trying to figure out the controls, but the problem with it is it wants you to take cover. You're not actually supposed to, I mean, you can't just, it's not Grand Theft Auto, so just to say within that, but that's just kind of the tone. So we'll figure it out next time. It's going to be within the fair as far as that particularly happens here, but so take cover and you'll find out what happens just from the tone behind it. But yeah, get some popcorn ready, some of that type fare. Stay tuned for episode 11 as far as those pitches going to happen. Subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night, and stick with this playlist as far as those fairs can happen within that tone of it.